Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit incredible. We're taking ancient Roman philosophy and turning it into a highly practical survival guide for the absolute overwhelm of the modern digital age. If you've ever felt totally paralyzed by anxiety, constantly distracted by your phone, or weighed down by peer pressure, well, you're in exactly the right place.
Now you might be wondering, why on earth should we care about the thoughts of a 2,000-year-old Roman? Well, imagine for a second getting direct text messages from a wildly successful, deeply experienced mentor who has literally seen it all. We're talking about a guy who survived political exile, crushing anxiety, sudden health crises, and some incredibly toxic friends. That mentor is Lucius Annaeus Seneca, and his letters to his younger friend Lucilius tell us exactly how to navigate our own daily chaos right now.
So, let's dive into this by busting a massive myth right out of the gate. When you hear the word Stoic, you probably picture someone who just buries their feelings and acts like an emotionless robot. But true Stoicism, it's actually a mental operating system. It's totally designed for resilience. It's about building a fortress in your mind, so you can stay calm, collected, and sharply focused when life inevitably gets crazy.
Section 1. Reclaiming your time. Be stingy with your attention. Seneca pointed out to his young friend Lucilius, who, by the way, was super busy and stressed, honestly a lot like a modern student prepping for college, that we aren't actually short on time. We just waste a massive amount of it. You know the drill. We constantly tell ourselves we're going to start that project tomorrow, while today just completely vanishes.
He actually categorized this loss of time into 3 types. First, outright theft, like when people drag you into totally useless gossip. Second, slipping away unnoticed, which, let's be real, in our world is endless doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. And third, sheer carelessness. This is a real wake-up call to treat our attention and our time with the exact same tight grip we use for our cash. Think about it. If a stranger asked you for $50, you'd definitely hesitate. But when an app asks for 2 hours of your life, we just hand it over for free.
And that brings us to a really powerful realization about our digital habits. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. If you're constantly jumping between hundreds of influencers, skimming random articles, and binge-watching shallow videos, your mind just becomes completely scattered. You might feel like you're learning, but you're not actually digesting anything deeply. Seneca's advice here is gold. Pick a few great thinkers and dive deep, rather than just skimming the surface of 100 different things.
All right, moving on to Section 2, the truth about friendship, quality over quantity.
Seneca was incredibly clear on this point. Human minds are highly suggestible. He warned that toxic crowds, endless drama, and constant complaining are literally contagious. You have to actively guard your mind by picking a tight-knit circle of people who actually raise your standards. Because if you're hanging out with people who only prioritize cheap thrills and materialism, well, those traits are inevitably going to rub off on you.
So the crucial takeaway here is understanding the difference between false and true friendship. False friendship is purely based on utility, like what can this person do for me, or just keeping a mask on to fit in. True friendship, on the other hand, is about complete vulnerability and being a giver, not a taker. You gotta drop the mask and run the ultimate trust test. If things went horribly, terribly wrong for you tomorrow, who would actually show up? Honestly, those are the only people who deserve your energy.
Section 3. Conquering anxiety. Stop suffering in advance.
This next concept might just be Seneca's most famous piece of advice, and man, does it hit hard today. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Really think about that for a second. Our minds are absolute experts at creating elaborate, terrifying worst-case scenarios. We literally torture ourselves long before any actual bad event happens. And the kicker? Most of the time, those events never even happen at all.
This totally exposes the trap of suffering in advance. On one side, we have these imagined, terrifying problems of the future, failing, rejection, the endless what-ifs that just drain all our energy. On the other side, we have real problems, the things actually happening right now in this exact moment. By stressing over a test that's a week away, you're ruining the present moment, and the present is literally the only place where you actually have the power to take action.
But, okay, what if a bad scenario actually is likely? Well, Seneca gives us this incredible mental superpower called the premeditation of evils. Instead of just ignoring your fear, you decatastrophize it. You write down your biggest worry. You look that absolute worst outcome right in the face, and then you write a step-by-step recovery plan. It's amazing. Once you realize you can and will actually survive the worst-case scenario, the anxiety just completely loses its power over you.
That brings us to Section 4, the power of perspective, hardship as your gym.
We fall for this trap all the time, the geography illusion. We think, if I just change my school or go on vacation, my anxiety will totally vanish. But Seneca hits us with a pretty brutal truth here. You cannot outrun a chaotic mind by changing your location. Why? Because you always take yourself with you. Your problems are packed right there in your suitcase, inside your head. You have to fix the inside first.
And when life inevitably gets hard, we basically have a choice between two mindsets. The victim mindset cries, "Why is my life so unfair?" But the Stoic mindset, it recognizes that hardship is just the toll road of life. Look, you can't drive on a toll road without paying, and you definitely can't live a human life without encountering struggles. So when you face a setback, stop taking it so personally. It's just the mandatory tax we pay for being alive. It's your mental gym.
Which leads us to a concept that, yes, sounds a bit dark at first, but is actually incredibly liberating. Study death, and you will study freedom. The Stoics practice memento mori, remembering that we must die. By remembering that our time on this planet is short, we instantly crush the fear of missing out. We stop wasting our precious energy on petty high school drama, holding on to silly grudges, and caring about things that, frankly, just do not matter in the grand scheme of things.
Finally, Section 5, your daily Stoic playbook, the Manifesto.
All right, here's your complete operating system. 6 rules to live by. 1. Guard your attention like it's your hard-earned money. 2. Accept what you can't control and save your energy for your own choices. 3. Mentally prepare for the worst so you never get blindsided. 4. Choose friends who actually lift you up. 5. Practice self-discipline to prove to yourself you don't need constant luxury to be happy. And 6. Treat every single obstacle as heavy gym equipment designed to make your mind stronger. This is exactly how you stay calm when the rest of the world is panicking.
I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. If you implemented this mental operating system today, what problem in your life would suddenly lose its power over you? Think about the specific stressors waiting for you tomorrow morning. If you stopped playing the victim, dropped the false friends, and fiercely guarded your attention, how would your life change? Ask yourself how Seneca's ancient playbook might just be the exact cure you've been searching for. Thank you for joining me in this explainer, and I challenge you to put these rules to the test today.
Please like and subscribe.